Okay, so campus tour begins now. Now, that's where I just came out of. That's obviously a dorm building, the one I presently live in. Unfortunately, not the one I lived in for the past 4 years, not the one I regard as my real home, but that's a subject for another time. This that we're approaching up on here is kind of, you'd probably be able to say the central area, kind of the main campus square. Although we have things a lot more evenly spread out across different parts. So it's not like this is usually where everything is, but it's about where 40% or so of everything is. So that there is the bookstore building. We so creatively named it the bookstore. The post office, because we have our own post office, is also in the basement down there. Now this here, this enormous concrete fortress basically is the Bruning building. It's the sort of the main generic building where all of the sort of just the generalized stuff is. It's where all the math classes are, all the English classes, political science, and everything. Here's our university library that is quite enormous. It's larger even than it looks from here, actually, because it goes back quite a ways. And it's 6 floors, 3 above ground, 3 below ground. We have a lot of weird art stuff like that scattered all over the place. Yeah, kind of just waved it up and down the stairwell there just to prove that I wasn't lying. It really is a 6-story building. A lot of stuff here has multiple underground floors because building down underground, the ground, kind of insulates really well during the winter. This is sort of the adjacent little campus square circle where we have our arena flags. I have the original engineering building right here. That over there is the new engineering building that, to my knowledge, is not entirely open yet. We just finished it, and we're still modeling up the inside a little bit. And over there, that's Bunnell. That's the main IT building, where the larger of our computer labs are, and the IT assistant's office. You see this here on the sort of wall slash bench, you could call it. All the grass and everything, and the moss coming in between the stones, we actually do that on purpose. At least to most of us, it actually makes it look really nice, as opposed to just, a flat cobble surface. That's Signers Hall right there, across from the engineering buildings and the library. That's the main administrative building. It houses the bursar's office and the office of admissions. That's where you go to, and the registrar's office. That's where you go to turn in like your registration forms for each coming semester, and where you go to pay fees and fines and stuff when you if you're the type of person who racks up fees and fines for everything. And this is the south-facing view. See some of the hills over there, and directly to the south, I don't know if I can zoom in decently enough. Down there, they're kind of obscured by the clouds right now, but down there is the Alaskan mountain range, where Denali and whatnot are. Denali is the real name of you. You probably have heard of it as Mount McKinley, but Denali was the real name that the native people of Alaska called it. Recently, it's been renamed back to Denali officially, and that there, with obviously the smokestack, that is our brand new power plant that is currently under construction. It's almost done. It'll be finished and turning on at the start of next school year. Because we have our own power plant here on campus. It provides both electricity to campus, and the steam generated that would normally just be vented out as waste steam is pumped through radiator pipes around campus and provides heat for the entire university. That smaller building right there is our old power plant. It's almost 60 now. It's going to be replaced by this one. Oh. We got our window washers up there. So, here we go. Into grouping. The concrete fortress. This is the ground level. It's technically level 3. There's the 2 basement floors and 6 upper floors. And each one's basically set up like this, where there's a central area with vending machines and everything and whatnot. And then you have classrooms all around. Here's a smaller one, just show you. Yeah, there's about 3. There's anywhere from 3 to 6 or so classrooms per floor, about. Except for some of the upper floors. Like the very top floor is the English department's floor. Instead of classrooms, that floor has a something we call the writing center, where you can go and print stuff for free. Yeah, here's a larger classroom, just to show you. So this area here is the main bus stop. You can see some of the hills and the mountains over there. So here, the city buses will pull in and will take you all over the place for free if you're a student. Students get free everything, basically. And we also, even on campus, have some smaller shuttle buses. So for those of us, or those of you who feel, just that extra bit lazy and don't really want to walk 1,000 feet, the shuttle buses will arrive every 10 or 15 minutes or so and take you basically wherever you need to go. They're not a taxi service, mind you. They are on a fixed route. They drive circles around the campus and stop at each of the primary locations. This of which is one of them. The main bus stop, And that building over there is the fire station, police station, and doctor's office, all packed into one building. Because we here on campus have our own fire department and our own police department and our own doctor's office, which provides free treatment to students. Again, students get free everything, including healthcare. Now the bus stop is right in front of this building, which is currently being remodeled a bit, but it's called the Wood Center. It's kind of a it's the campus cafeteria, massive gaming lounge, reading lounge, arcade, bowling alley, study area. Literally, like it's a massive multi-story place with a cafeteria, a couple of third-party restaurants, a bunch of couches and tables and everything, and the aforementioned arcade and bowling alley. And there is one of the city buses. Here's one of the shuttle buses. Now we're on the other end of campus, called West Ridge, because the primary road we just rode down, and basically the entire campus itself runs from east over to west. That's the government virology lab. This is how I spend a fair deal of my time too, picking up everybody's garbage. Now that funky looking building over there that we passed, that's the Museum of the North. That has a whole bunch of, like cool Arctic history exhibits and, cold climate wildlife exhibits. This building here is... It's like a Piper or a Pilatus. This building here obviously is the MIRI building. This is the primary biological sciences building. This is where a lot of my classes formerly were. Human A&P, otherwise known as human anatomy and physiology. No. And we have these monitors here everywhere that show you where the shuttle buses and everything are relative to campus. We have phones that hang on the wall everywhere that you can just use if you need to. Also have an alert beacon that in case there's some kind of emergency and you don't really have time or anything to call 911 or the campus police, you can just hit the emergency beacon and it'll just summon them basically. So this little cafe thing here inside the biological sciences building. Almost every building on campus sort of has their own. And just as I told you, there's various study areas of all kinds. This one here is Irving. It looks like the walls are a bunch of rocks pasted together. That's the fish building, basically. That's where a lot of the fish classes are. Now the real title is fisheries and fish science, but one of my friends, Will, while he was still here, was a fisheries major, and so it's one of the ways we kind of teased him a little bit is we just called it the fish building. This right up here, this big monster, this is the geoscience building. This is where all the kinds of cool physics stuff is. You can see we have a giant radio telescope up there. Also attached to that is the Weather Services building, where we have a giant Doppler radar. Now this here is an auditorium. Well, this is one of the smaller ones. So for a lot of your earlier classes, you're going to be in a setup like this with like 100+ people. Got a UAV. So we built our own drones up here. Yeah. See, our geoscience building here, ironically, is actually one of the tallest buildings in the city. Oh, and over there I see that one's in a inert model, but we do actually build and launch rockets up here. We have our own launch platform at a place called Poker Flats. There goes another one of the shuttles. But we have our own launch platform at a place called Poker Flats. But there's the radio telescope again. That's the geosciences building. So, this 3-building complex here is a set of dorms. Primarily the freshman dorms, where we dump off and cram all the freshmen into. Except for Bartlett there. And see bus schedules here. These are for the city buses as well as the shuttles. They both will stop right here in front of the dorm buildings for students' convenience. Obviously, make it pretty easy enough in the morning. Just come right out, walk right up to the bench there, and just go ahead and wait for the bus and head off to wherever you need to get. Now, these 3 aren't the only dorms, obviously, because I showed you the one I'm currently having to stay in. The rest are down on lower campus. There's in total, there's a string of 5 on lower campus. So this is the main lobby and entryway. And here is one of the reasons why a fair number of students prefer living up here, is because there's this place called the Campus Cash, which is essentially a convenience store, all kinds of stuff. And we even have our own subway. Now we're down on a much lower point, kind of at the bottom of campus. Ooh, I got an Alaska Airlines 737 coming in over there. But yeah, there's the lower campus dorms. There's the freshman dorms on upper campus. There's the chemistry building, and you can't really see it through the trees, but that's Westridge over there up the hill. Now, I'm not actually going to bother showing you the dorm room that I'm currently living in because, as I've already said, I don't really regard it as my real home. My real home's in the building called Stevens. You can see that building in this image here, and my real dorm room in this image here that I previously lived in for 4 years until the building was closed down for this current school year. That's kind of what the standard rooms look like up here. The freshman rooms are a bit smaller, of course, because we have to torture the freshmen somehow. All right, so that's basically just about it. That is what I was able to show you of the UAF campus here at the University of Alaska in Fairbanks. If you at all have any interest in attending, then by all means check out the university's website at uaf.edu. That link will be at the top of the description below. And thanks everyone for sticking around for so long, and for taking us above the 1,000 subscriber mark. I will see everyone around in the next video.